All right, let's dive in. Today we're talking about a skill that is absolutely essential: development project planning. We're going to look at the tools you need to take an amazing idea and actually make it happen in the real world. To get from that first spark of an idea to a finished success without getting totally lost.
But first, let's start with a question that, honestly, can be kind of frustrating. Why is it that so many fantastic, well-intentioned projects backed by really smart people, just fizzle out and fail? I think it's something a lot of us have seen happen, right?
Well, the reason is often surprisingly simple, and it's really the big idea we're going to unpack today. It's usually not because the idea was bad, or because people weren't passionate enough. It's because they didn't have the right map for the journey they were on.
And this really hits the nail on the head. A good intention, that's just the destination you hope to reach. But to actually get there, you need a solid plan. You need a map that shows you the way, step by step. Without that, you're pretty much just wandering around in the dark.
So what is this map? Well, in the world of development, there's a name for it: the project cycle. The best way to think about it is as a trusted, field-tested guide that helps planners navigate all the twists and turns of any project, whether it's a tiny community garden or a massive new dam.
So this map, it breaks the entire journey down into 7 key stages. You start with that initial decision, that first aha moment. Then you figure out your actual goals. You collect the data you need, you look at different ways to get there, you pick the best one, you actually build the thing, and then, and this is crucial, you monitor and evaluate how it all went. It's a complete loop that makes sure you've thought of everything.
Okay, so you've got your map, the project cycle. Fantastic. But just like on any real trip, just having the map isn't the whole story. You're going to come to a fork in the road, and you've got to make a choice about how you're going to travel. Which path are you going to take? And this brings us to what is maybe the most important choice any project planner has to make. There are 2 basic ways to follow your map. You can take the blueprint path, or you can take the adaptive path. And believe me, the choice you make here changes absolutely everything.
So let's break these down. The blueprint path is super rigid. It's all planned out ahead of time. You figure out every single detail, you assume nothing is going to change, and you make your decisions based on cold, hard numbers. The adaptive path, though, is the total opposite. It's built for uncertainty. It assumes you're going to have to learn as you go, that you'll have to experiment, and that your decisions will be based on feedback and what you're seeing on the ground. Let's just zoom in on that blueprint approach for a sec. The source material defines it perfectly. It really is like an architect's final drawing for a skyscraper. Every wire, every pipe, every bolt is decided on before anyone even starts digging the foundation. It's incredibly precise, it's orderly, and there's zero room for making things up as you go.
Now here's the kicker. It's not that one path is good and the other is bad, but choosing the wrong path for the journey you're on, that can lead to complete and utter disaster. And I've got the perfect true story to show you exactly what I mean.
There's a pretty famous story in the development world from a practitioner named Ernesto Ciroli. It's about an aid project in Zambia, and it's just a knockout example of what can happen when a perfectly logical blueprint plan smacks right into a messy, unpredictable reality.
So picture this, a stunning, incredibly fertile valley right on the banks of the Zambezi River. The aid workers show up and they see all this amazing land, but something's weird. No one's farming it. There's no agriculture at all.
So, being experts, they come up with a classic blueprint plan. They decide, we know what to do. We will teach the local people to grow food. We'll bring in these amazing Italian tomato and zucchini seeds and show them how it's done. And they mapped it all out, without asking a single question first.
And you know what? At first, it worked brilliantly. The soil was incredible, the tomatoes were enormous, we're talking bigger and juicier than anything they'd ever seen in Italy. The aid workers were so proud, patting themselves on the back thinking, wow, we nailed it, this is easy. And then it happened. One night, about 200 hippos lumbered out of the Zambezi River and ate everything. The entire crop, the whole project just gone, wiped out in a single night.
So you can imagine, they were completely devastated. They finally go to the local people and say, "Oh my God, the hippos, why didn't you warn us?" And the locals just looked at them and replied, "Yes, that's why we don't have any agriculture here." The single most important piece of information was right there with them. The entire time, they just never thought to ask.
Now, that story isn't about making fun of the aid workers. It's a huge lesson in humility and in strategy. The point isn't that blueprint planning is always wrong.
The point is to become the kind of planner who knows which path to pick based on the terrain you see in front of you.
So, how do you choose? Well, this gives us a really great breakdown. A blueprint approach is perfect for things like building a dam or a factory, big physical projects where the environment is stable and you know exactly what the finished product looks like. But you absolutely have to use an adaptive approach when your project is about people, like in farming or social programs. When there's uncertainty, when you know you're going to have to learn as you go, when the whole point is human development, you need to be flexible. You need to be ready for hippos.
And really, that's the heart of it all. A great project planner isn't just someone who has memorized the 7 stages of the project cycle. A great planner is like a seasoned traveler. They know how to read the map, sure, but more importantly, they know how to look at the terrain right in front of them and choose the right path to get where they're going.
So I'll leave you with this to think about for your own work, for your next big project, for that great idea you have. What are the critical pieces of local knowledge you might be missing? What are the unforeseen obstacles? In other words, what are the hippos hiding just out of sight in your plan? Something to think about. Thanks for joining me.